Okay, YouTube, so today we're going to be looking at 10 different ways to reduce arm pump and help you to ride better and go faster. So roll the intro. To kind of explain arm pump is when you're holding on to your handlebars and pretty much the blood just pumps up in your arm, kind of like in the name, arm pump. But what it does is it pumps up so much that it can't get out of there, and so your muscles, they can't work right and everything starts to go numb, and your arm hurts, you feel like you can't hold on to the bars, and ultimately you're gonna ride slower and not ride as good as if you were riding freely and loose. So I'm gonna give you 10 tips to help this and to be able to go faster, ride looser and freer, and hope this video helps. Okay, so for tip number 1, I'm gonna be talking about your lever position. So with your levers, you want to have them to where your arms are completely straight from your elbows all the way to your fingertip. And I'll get a closer shot to show you kind of what that looks like up close. But think of it as a water hose, and you don't want a water hose to be kinked, because then the water can't go through it. And so the same thing goes for your arms and blood. If your wrists or your fingers are kinked like a water hose, then your blood can't flow freely through there, and you're gonna get arm pump and start pumping up with blood. So think of it as a water hose and just try to keep it as straight as you can with being comfortable, and just get your levers in a good position to where you can do that. Moving on to tip number 2, it kind of goes along with the first one, but get a good bend for your bars and get your bars in a good position that you're comfortable with. Now, what I mean by a good bend for you is, if you're a super tall guy, you don't want the, say, Ricky Carmichael bend, which is super low, and you're gonna be, hunched over, and it's just not gonna be comfortable. And the same goes for if you're a shorter guy. You don't want to have bar risers or super tall bars that are gonna make you feel like you're riding a Harley and you got ape hangers. So just keep that in mind when you're picking out a bar and when you're setting up your bars. Usually stock bars are kind of like the all-around. They'll fit just about anybody, and you can usually get them set up for your height and what you like to ride. It's all preference, but that is to an extent, and it can definitely help if you have taller or lower bars, if you're a little bit taller or a little bit shorter. So also keep that in mind. Okay, so tip number 3 on my list is the last one, kind of on your bar setup. It's gonna be your grips. And so your grips, they come in all different sizes, compounds, and you can get, super soft ones, super hard ones that are just like holding on to concrete. But so keep in mind kind of what size hand you have, and it's pretty much the same as bar setup. If you have big hand, you probably want a little bit bigger diameter grip. So I have a little bit bigger hands, so I go with the Ori grips. And then people with smaller hands maybe try the Imig grips or something similar to that. And I'll be sure to link these down in the description so you guys can check them out and maybe go get you a pair if you don't have a grip that you like yet. Go check those out. Okay, so tip number 4 is just simply do not death grip. What I mean by this is do not hold on tight to your bars, and just try to loosen up a little bit, relax, and everything works better when you're just relaxed and flowing through trails or track. So just try to stay loose on the bike and don't just grip the handlebars as tight as you can. That's gonna make your muscles work harder and get more blood in there and make it easier for your arms to pump up. Okay, so tip number 5 is to clamp your bike with your knees. And so what this is gonna do is just gonna relieve your arms and allow you to relax a little bit more. So obviously your leg muscles are a lot bigger than your arm muscles. So your leg muscles aren't going to get as tired or as pumped up as much as your arm muscles would. And so when you're sitting down, you can kind of clamp the tank and the shrouds with your knees. And then when you're standing up, you can clamp your seat and your frame and your air box with your knees to kind of relieve your arms and help relax a little bit more. Moving on to tip number 6. This is overlooked by a lot of riders, and I believe it really helps me with reducing arm pump and not pumping up in the beginning of the race. So if you notice, you probably pump up during your first moto or the first, say, 10 to 20 minutes that you're riding, and this is because you're probably not warmed up. Warm up before your race or your motos, and that can simply be on a stationary bike, doing jumping jacks, running around a little bit, or just anything to get your blood flowing and to get fresh blood in your arms, fresh blood throughout your body, and that's going to help your muscles just move freely and work better and be more efficient. So warm up before your motos, and it's going to help throughout all of them. It's not going to make you tired as long as you don't just, go out and do a marathon or anything. Just get it nice and warm, not too much, but get your blood flowing, and then you'll be better off during your motos. So tip number 7 kind of goes along with the last tip, and it's going to be stretching. And this is also overlooked by a lot of riders too. If you look it up, there's different forearm stretches, and a lot of them, like this and like this, and just all the different ways to get your forearm stretched. And then there's also a tool that I use. It's called the Forearm Strong, and I'll also link this down in the description so you guys can go check it out. But you just simply slide it on your arm and then tighten up the knob and stretch as you would, and it just gets different pressure points on your arm, so you can get stretched out more than you would with just regular stretching with your arm. And there's videos out there on how to use this thing if you guys get one and don't know how to use it. I'll link that along with where you can buy this at down in the description, like I said earlier. But I believe this is a good tool to use to get stretched out, just that little extra bit that you can't get when you're just doing the regular forearm stretches. Tip number 8 is to simply breathe. And this sounds simple, but in supercross and motocross, you'll see on the professional riders' pit boards all the time, it'll just say breathe. And this is because when you're riding, you're so focused on picking your lines, going fast, and doing everything, you just forget to breathe. And you hold your breath, and your muscles, they'll need, the more oxygen they can get, the better they're gonna work. So just remind yourself every now and then just to breathe. And the more you do that, it's gonna help your blood circulate and help your blood be more efficient. I know some guys, they actually chew gum while they're riding, and I'm not sure what this helps, but it just reminds them to breathe, and constantly, it's a constant reminder just to breathe and keep everything going. So that's gonna be tip number 8. Tip number 9 is getting your mind on something else. If you're not thinking about your arms, you're not thinking about arm pump, then it's not gonna happen. Just tell yourself it's not real, it's a myth, and then it won't happen. So just get your mind thinking about, catching the person in front of you, or trying to get a bigger lead if you're already in the lead, and just get it on something else. Just not your arms pumping up, and don't worry about the stuff that can go wrong. Just focus on doing better and trying to go faster, or trying to clear this jump, trying to clean this corner, whatever it may be. Just get your mind off your arm pump and it'll go away. Okay, so my last and final tip, number 10, is going to be seat time. And I know this is maybe an obvious one, but it's going to be the best out of all these tips. If I could give one tip, it would be to ride more. And the reason I say that is the more you ride, just the better you're going to be at it, the more comfortable you're going to be, the more conditioned your muscles are going to be for it. And there's nothing else can compare to riding and actually doing the activity. So with riding, you can just go out and do motos, go play around. Even playing around is just going to help. It's going to help with your conditioning and help being comfortable on the bike. And it's just going to be the best thing, the best tip that I can give. So keep that in mind. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the bell notifications so you get reminded when my videos come out. Thanks for watching.